And to talk about other genres, that is, in essay and pamphlets and novels, this novelty of expression was also adopted by various other artists, romantic writers. For example, Charles Lamb and William Hazlitt. They reoriented their essay to exhibit this personal inclination or to exhibit this heady mix of autobiography with a well devised use of imagination. In the novel form, there was Jane Austen, Walter Scott. Jane Austen was specializing in the brand of romantic narratives, and Walter Scott was trying different formats of especially of the character narratives, romantic character narratives. So this search for an alternative poetics, it was well underway after the neoclassical period, and this romantic manifestations, these romantic ideas, these romantic manifestations, they got their formal launch through the publication of lyrical ballads, first in 1798 and then republished in 1800. This romantic impulse primarily or essentially was propelled by a desire to find out a new frame through which to engage with the world, a process that found its fruition in, say, the valorization of the individual, regarding that valorization of the individual as an adequate device for the fulfillment of such a kind of design. So if we ask ourselves what is the meaning of the term romantic, or what exactly constituted the romantic ideal, so the answer would be probably romantic in ordinary life is an escape from its monotonous routine, its unconventionality and its custom. So the charm of romantic consists primarily in its novelty and variety. For example, exploring a high mountain peak, a countryside gathering, or a simple sailing or cruising in the moonlight, an eloped or a runaway marriage, mutton chop whiskers. These all are somewhere manifested as having the romantic spirit. And the same can be said of things that are separated from us by distance, either of time or of space. Their appeal lies in its remoteness. That is, distance lends a kind of mystery, a kind of enchantment to its view. So romantic can also be seen as a man's thirst, as man's unquenchable thirst for beauty that lied in the strange, the extraordinary, the remote. And these impulses of the romantic, that is imagination for nature, yearning for the past or remote, or the combination of strangeness and beauty, also constituted the bottom of romantic poetics, or the very part of the poet's credo. Interestingly, these writers, these poets who were working in the period of 1785 to 1832, they did not really think of themselves as constituting a group of romantic authors. It was, in fact, later on Victorian critics who first wrote of the previous generation as the Romantics, and they promoted the term as such. Their contemporaries, that is, the contemporaries of Wordsworth, Coleridge, Keats, these on their part, they treated these writers as independent individuals, or else grouped them, and they were not received very well by the critics as well. In fact, William Wordsworth was maliciously condemned by the critics for not following those so-called rules and the framework that was provided by the neoclassical masters. And when I said they were grouped them, I meant that a number of separate schools or sects were created, SECTS. For example, the Lake School of William Wordsworth. The Lake School, which consisted of William Wordsworth, Coleridge, Robert Southey, or the sect of poets, the other sect of poets as the critic Francis Jeffrey snipped them, determining to be dissenters from the established system in poetry and criticism, and valuing themselves highly for having broken loose from the bondage of ancient authority. There were also another school or another group called the Cockney School, which was again a kind of derogatory term for vulgar Londoners. And these so-called Londoners or philosophers or the poets were Leigh Hunt, William Hazlitt, and associated writers whom they were believed were more pretentious than their station. and it also included Keats. There was another group that was formed or regarded by critics, that was Satanic School. And Satanic School again had Leigh Hunt, Percy Shelley, and Byron.